Cool. I just read Limitless, the extended edition, 2023, via audiobook form. I give it a 2 out of 5. I thought it was going to be a good reference book. It introduces a lot of concepts to the to the reader, but it gets a lot of things wrong, and it doesn't go into enough depth. And I'm like, I don't think I can really recommend it as a read. We'll just go through some things. He talks about having the right mindset, a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So a lot of these concepts you'll come across in many other books, even if you just watch a couple of videos on YouTube. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Make sure that you work on things like recall instead of recognition. One of the tests he even brings up and talks about later in the book was wrong. It was about learning languages and learning stuff. But he says, hey, write something down, put it away, see what you can recall, and then open it up and kind of then look at what you recognize, kind of thing. And it's like, that's not what recall is. Recall is no prompts at all. And you need to be able to test yourself that way. Recognition is just looking at something, the information. The test doesn't work. At the end of each of the chapters, he does like a chapter chats thing. It's like a podcast kind of thing between him and some interviewer. And it was a big waste of time. And it was at the end of every single chapter. That needs to be thrown out. There's neuroplasticity in the brain. Everyone's heard of that. If you spend any time in the self-help sphere, make sure you eat properly. There's a whole chapter on eating properly, but it's just, it's everything, fruit and veggies, done. I don't know why he spends a whole chapter on it. The book's relatively well organized in terms of chapters. He comes up with a lot of acronyms for stuff, and sometimes those acronyms look really forced. I can't recommend them. I guess they'll help you memorize stuff and how to do the certain steps, but and overall it feels very forced. The audiobook itself is read really slowly. I put it up to 3 times speed, and that was the speed that I felt I was writing this kind of stuff down at 3 times. And these are just quick notes, but even then, like, man, if I put it down to 2, it was too slow. I don't know why you read so slow. It was really frustrating. There's a chapter on reading, speed reading, and you can find that information out in other specific books. He talks about finding the way you learn best, but really it depends on what you're learning and what you're learning it for. How are you going to be tested on the knowledge that you're receiving? So his information here is old. I'm really surprised by a 2023 book having this kind of information. There's even a whole chapter on he calls it like your brain animal, and it's like different personality kind of stuff. It really comes off like Myers-Briggs kind of stuff, and it puts you in a category. It's like, that's not how brains work. The old idea was it auditory, kinesthetic, and like visual learners. But the thing is, we know that's not how it works. There's been a lot of studies, even within the last decades, that say, no, we use all of these things, and it really depends on what you're using the knowledge for. So I don't know why he still has this information. Chapter on nutrition. The chapter on AI was almost completely worthless, apart from the fact that you can use AI to give you prompts, and you can make it like build mind maps or types of mnemonics for you. I guess that was the only thing that I got away from it. Congratulations, you've got the only piece of information from that chapter that was actually worthwhile. It really wasn't that great. That's another book. And so I can't really recommend it. Again, 2 out of 5. He says children are the fastest learners. He was going into like a language learning chapter. And that's not necessarily correct, because adult learners can learn languages within like 6 months compared to children, because adults have a really strong foundation of grammar and how languages work. They can do it way quicker than kids. And so I don't know why, again, he's making these claims, but it's like really old stuff. So I can't recommend it. 2 out of 5. Spend your time elsewhere and read books that are more nuanced. This one is trying to reach way too many audiences, and in doing so, it reaches no audience.